Hi everyone, it's Nancy, the exercise physiologist from the Zakim Center for Integrative Therapies and Healthy Living. Today we are continuing our talk about the hip flexor. So if you haven't watched video one, where I talk a little more in depth about kind of the importance of the stretching and the strengthening of your hip flexors, please go ahead and watch that video because we're going to kind of piggyback on that a little bit. So in the first video, we talked about strength, and we talked about strength from a standing position. Now I'm going to show you two exercises that you can do on the floor. You technically no equipment. You could potentially try this with a very stretchy mini band. You don't want anything super tight here. Trust me. You're gonna want a fairly loose band. So if you don't have a band, it's totally fine. For the stretching portion, you're going to need a yoga strap. So hopefully you can get a yoga strap for yourself because that will be very helpful. Okay, so first exercise, we're going to be laying on our back. So I like to put a little bit of, support under my head here. This just helps for a lot of us align our spine. Well, you don't need a ton of height, we don't need a yoga block or anything that significant, but sometimes just a small pillow or towel can make a difference. So I'm going to keep my right leg bent and I'm going to extend my left leg on the floor. Now you want to make sure when you do that you don't create this big arch and space under your lower back. So you may need to do just a little bit of a pelvic tilt to eliminate that space under your back. From here, you're going to engage the muscle in the front of your thigh. You're going to really flex this left foot. From here, you're going to lift this straight left leg up to the height of the right knee and then slowly down. Up and down. So from here, we want to isolate the movement from these hip flexor muscles and the hip joint all the way to the toe tips. So I don't want movement here. I don't want you arching and then flattening, arching and then flattening. So this part of your body, your hip bones, your lower back, stay very still and stable as this leg lifts and lowers. Okay, so that, again, we were addressing the front muscles in the front of the hip flexors. We're also getting, some of your quad muscles, and that's always, a good bonus to be working those muscles as well. Okay, so the second exercise, we're going to involve our chair. So I'm going to turn to my side here and scoot my head back, rest back with me. I'm going to take my mini band. I'm going to wrap it around my feet. And then I'm going to come on back on the chair. So it may take you, a second to find the right distance where your legs are straight on the chair. You're going to flex both feet. That's going to be important. We don't want any bands to the face. So from here, I'm going to take my right leg. I'm going to flex that foot and I'm going to pull that right knee in. And then I'm going to straighten it back. Pull it in. So again, I'm keeping that left foot flexed as a sort of anchor and security point. Now you could also do this without the band. And you're pulling in as far as feels good for you. If you can get a bit above your hip height towards your face, that would be a bonus. And then similar concept to that last exercise. There's no movement here in that lower back or hips. All right, that was our last one. So we'll remove the band. We're going to roll to my side. So we are now going to transition to doing some stretches for those hip flexors. We did a lot of good exercises to strengthen them, but we do still want to be doing some stretching. So you're gonna go ahead and grab a stretching band and we will meet on our stomach. So if you happen to have a stretching strap, particularly one that happens to have little loops in it, that is definitely going to be the most convenient, but I can appreciate that many of you may not have that. So you could take a dog leash, necktie, bathrobe strap, lots of options here. And you're going to, if it's a long strap, you're going to secure it at the midpoint around your foot. If again you happen to have one of these looped ones, you're going to put the loop through the bottom one, and then you're going to come on to your belly. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to use this band to help, you're going to bend your knee as much as you can, and then you're going to help use, let the strap help pull. So I'm pointing my foot and pulling my heel towards my bum, but I'm trying to keep this front part of my hip down. And at least for me, and I'm going to assume for many of you, that's going to be the challenge. You're probably flexible, somewhat flexible through your quads, but potentially not through your hip flexor. So you might do this, with all this space here. You want to be trying to press as much as you can that hip flexor down. Now, some of you, like myself, may really feel this in your knee. So you could stack a, pillow, towel, and sometimes having a little bit of height under your knee joint will also make it a little bit easier to eliminate this space here. And then, of course, anytime we're stretching, particularly a part that is very tight, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, you want to make sure you can breathe. So finding a point where first, you feel, a stretch, a mild, dull, broad ache in the front of your hip. And then if you can, sort of relax your head and neck. You don't want to be like yanking on this strap with a ton of tension in your arm or jaw. So you want to try to relax. And then from here, you're going to take several deep breaths. So you really want to expand through the rib cage. You may even feel yourself as you expand and bring air in, that you kind of lift a little bit there. And then on the exhale, you want to see, can I get a little more range of motion? Then can I inhale again? Exhale, maybe a little more range of motion. Still pressing down, so don't let that hip lift up. Last one, we'll inhale. Exhale. Okay, we'll release that. And you may find that, things feel quite different from one side to the other, and that would be normal. So now I'm going to show you a more traditional half kneeling stretch. This one you've may have seen or done in the past. Now, anytime we're kneeling, I often find it quite helpful to have some cushioning and support for under your knee joint. So you want to get that set up. So I've got my left knee down, I've got my right foot forward. So sometimes when people do a stretch like this, they come very far forward and they, you might even see this very arched back, and sometimes people will get their arm involved. What I'm going to have you try today is to start a little bit closer. We want to get rid of, a little bit of a tuck here, and then a smaller shift forward. But again, we're not arching through the back. So we're squeezing, in this case, my left glute, and then trying to lengthen here through the front. And you can hold here. Some people like to kind of come out of it and then come back into it again. So inhale, release. Exhale, back in. Inhale, release. Exhale. Okay. So hopefully these two videos have given you maybe a new appreciation for the importance of strengthening those muscles in the front of your hip as well as stretching them. So join us
for more videos soon, and thank you as always for tuning in.